Bret buddy.
Perfect.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a bit of a conversation for you and me since I got here. You're like one of the first people that I started talking to specifically in hockey world, which no matter where you are on this planet, hockey is a community and it really sticks that way, right? But you're a good old Canadian kid, right?
Yeah.
Just like me. And you're like from Canadiana, man. Tell everybody, where are you originally from?
Migrated down to South Florida from Saskatchewan, where the winters are minus 90 and you have 30 feet of snow, to beautiful South Florida on the beaches here.
And they last like 13 months in Saskatchewan. That's what I heard.
Summer is 2 months if you're lucky, a little bit more than that. But for the most part, you're locked into a pretty treacherous winter. So hockey is huge there, obviously. But I'm very happy and blessed for the change of scenery and coming down here.
Were you born there?
Yeah, born and raised in Saskatchewan, and then lived there, played junior hockey till I was 20, and then moved down actually to Orlando my first year as a 20-year-old playing in the minors. So
In the minors?
yeah, so
Who'd you play in the minors for?
I played in Orlando, I played in Missouri for my first year, and then after that I went back to Canada. I went to school for 4 years in Edmonton at NAIT.
Okay.
And then I came back down and continued to bang it out in the minors. So.
Did you play university hockey?
Yeah, so NAIT was the ACAC. It was called the Alberta Athletic Conference. It was its own conference, but it was still, you played CIS, all that kind of stuff. Canada West was the conference we were in, so we played every team once or twice, I think, and then we had our own division. So it was good. It was the reason why I went there is I didn't know about it in particular, but you didn't have to redshirt. So guys would go play pro, guys would play in the dub or whatever, and then they go try to play in the coast and come back, and then you didn't have to redshirt. So you could just get right in and start playing. So that was the pull for those schools, I guess, and that was 2007. And now they're getting pretty big. They have good school. Every team in that division is really good. They get pro guys. They get guys from all over. Guys who go play Div 1, something happened, whatever. They'll come back to Canada and need a place to play, want to finish their schools. So it's a good league and it's growing.
I think a lot of people don't realize and underestimate it. 'Cause I know I was one of those guys realizing how good university level hockey is in Canada for the exact reason you just described. People and players that have played in the most elite levels that for whatever reason or another still need more access, more path, have the access to education. They come back and they play. And from what I hear, like a lot of people are still signing pro contracts coming out of university level hockey, like grossly underestimated.
Definitely, and it's men too. It's not, the guys are a little bit older than that. They're 22 to 23, 24, 25-ish. So you have the option to go. I think now the rule is in major junior in Canada is you have 1 year to go test the waters, I guess you could say. So you can go play pro or whatever, or do what you want to do. But then you have 1 year to continue to have that funding for your schooling.
Right.
So you get, what is it?
You get your undergrad paid for.
Yeah.
If it depends on which contract you sign, but like if you're a top draft pick going into the OHL. What people don't know is like if you're a Canadian and you're a really good hockey player, you have two paths. You have the OHL path, which you start essentially, you get drafted at 16 and you can play the next year right away at arguably the most elite level that exists for that age group. Like Canada's got the abundance of riches. Or you can handshake commit to like a D1 school, but then you're not playing for 2 years. Like you have to play junior B hockey because if you set foot in the OHL and play one game, you are automatically disqualified, right? So it's a risk that you're making a 16-year-old. Like, I've seen this happen through my brother and his boys and stuff like that. In hindsight, it's always 20/20. But I think about it from my perspective, my son playing and stuff. I'm like, I know he's got a long time till this comes, but look, it's a tough decision to make as a 16-year-old. Like that's a life-changing decision. Right?
It is, and you got to look at it two ways. Like it's depending on how mature you are. Like if you're mature at 16 and you can go play with the men and play in the OHL, the Western Hockey League, the Quebec Major Junior League, and travel on the bus and play 70 games and play best of 7 series. A lot of guys that do that go right to the American League or to the NHL, and they have good careers. But on the other end of that, there's guys who aren't mature for that, but it's, the idea of it is so nice and they want to do that, but they play and they get hurt. And by the time those years are over, they can't handle it. Their bodies can't handle it. And, they could be done after that. So you have to look and say, hey, I'm 16, I'm highly touted, but I'm not mature yet physically, mentally, whatever. But I want to, play a couple of years of junior A, and then I want to go to a nice Div 1 school in the U.S. and play 4 years, work out, develop, play 30 games rather than the 72 games. And then, coming out of that, guys are totally different players, and they also go to the American League or to the NHL coming right out of there. Like, there's a lot more guys that are going that route, I feel, nowadays.
Right.
Whereas before, there was no question, especially in Western Canada, Saskatchewan, like, you're going to the Western Hockey League. We're taking you right now, 16, 17. But I've also, like I was saying, I know kids who were really good at 16. They got into the dub, and it ate them up and spit them out. And at 18 years old, they're either retired or they're playing junior A, junior B, just trying to get by, and then they quit. And it is what it is. So it is a huge decision where you really have to put a lot of thought into it, because it's a career changer, definitely.
And it's a grenade for parents, and like, if you think about the logistics of it, you're asking a 16-year-old to make a decision that they're not equipped to make for the most part, and as a parent, you're afraid to tell your kid, well, maybe we should take the other route that has its own pitfalls. You can get injured, decommitment, you can fall off, your numbers fall off. Like, it's not a contract signed to go to D1. And then let's say that happens and you get injured, and then your kid's going to resent you for the rest of your life that, why didn't you let me play in junior, versus going to junior saying, oh shit, maybe we should have stuck around and gone D1, where the hockey is amazing, but the school itself presents all sorts of opportunities that you would have never had. So when you see guys playing at the most elite level, and you think of like the guys who signed those contracts, they're not only elite in every capacity, but they are the elite of the elite, where 3, 4, 5 guys are like the mainstays of every team, and most other guys are a suitcase. Mm-hmm. They're around, right? They're moving from place to place because you're in a salary cap environment. They have to uproot their lives. They're now men, they have relationships, they have families and that, like, people don't see that. And that goes around almost any sport, right? Yeah. Like, the guys that are mainstays, but everybody around them is constantly fighting to play the game they love, to do what they love, and they're one injury away from having to hit rock bottom. And the podcast I had before that launched with Nikita, like, he's very transparent about that. Like, he goes out there hurt, fights, he's already concussed, and now you're taking a pro contract away from a kid who's 22, like, literally still a kid.
It's just the way it is, and once you realize that, I think it's good for you to realize that, but it is what it is, and it is a meat market. I had a coach who played 25 years, mostly in the NHL, but he was in the American League. Same thing. He was a really skilled guy. He was leading the league in scoring in the American League, but then when he came up to the NHL, he had to fight a lot and play a different role. But he was playing in the NHL, so he did whatever he wanted to do. But biggest thing he said is, it is a meat market. You come in one night, you score 3 goals. The next night you got someone coming in, he scores 3 goals. They push you to the side. You drop down from the top 6 to the bottom 9, and that's just how it is. There is a lot of loyalty in sports, but you just, as you go forward, and now we're older and our careers have passed us, we kind of look back and see things, and it's it's a funny thing to say, but if you know what you know now,
sure,
back then it would have been so easy. It would have been a lot easier, but that's just the way it is. But you look at guys like Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, those guys lifted Chicago on their shoulders, and imagine they were just kids and going through that roller coaster and winning 3 cups, but then eventually a time comes where, look at Jonathan Quick in Los Angeles.
Right.
He was a messiah there, and he had 2 cups there. And then last year they're just like, okay, man, get out of here.
Yeah,
like they
we're
traded him to Columbus. You know, there's a lot of things that go on internally that we don't know about. Where
Sure.
it is what it is, but at the end of the day, it is a business, and there is no loyalty. And to run your business, you kind of have to go on that.
You have to do what you got to
make
do.
money.
Like,
you know,
it's a production shop. Like, there's so much competition. You have these young guys that are now elite skaters at the age of 18, 19. Like, I'm talking elites of the elites. But that's like the business side of hockey. And it's the business side of everything, whether you're talking about professional sports or anything else. If you don't produce, you're done. Without that, as a Canadian especially, like, hockey is in the DNA. And then you come down to a place like South Florida. You've been here just about as long as I have, right? And you're like, I love hockey. I want to stay in hockey. I want to be around the hockey community. And you're like, you're taking the bull by the horns. I know you skated a bunch of guys this summer, right? And you know, I want you to talk about that. And now you're also coaching travel hockey in South Florida, man. What's that journey been like?
Well, coming down here, I didn't know what to expect. I've been here a couple times before I actually moved here, and I didn't really know anything. So before I moved down here, I just kind of went online and looked at some of the rinks that they had available here, and just was, you know, being a rink rat mentality, going around the rinks and just seeing what's up. So I went there, skated a few times myself, met some contacts, got involved with a couple teams. My first guy I actually talked to was Anders and Joe, and really good guys. So they kind of got me into the coaching world. And then, I didn't expect it to be as big as it is and as competitive as it is down here. And obviously it's a huge area. There's tons of sports. There's hockey, baseball, football, soccer, whatever you want. But the hockey, you know, with the Panthers, they the last couple of years they won the President's Trophy.
Right.
You know, they went to the Cup final last year. The numbers are booming. It's very competitive. So with having that said, there's a lot of organizations to coach. I'm helping out, doing some stuff with the younger kids. I'm also trying to focus doing my own thing. So
What is it that you're trying to focus?
Before I came here in Saskatchewan, I was doing and running a hockey academy. I was working out of my home base there. I was doing a lot of off-ice workouts, hockey specific. My last few years of playing professionally, I got mentored by a few professional strength and conditioning guys. A guy in Edmonton. My last year, I played in Mississippi or Memphis. Our strength and conditioning guy there, he was with Auburn University, so he had a different way to look at it. He was mostly into training speed, but with football guys, basketball guys, baseball guys, so not much of a hockey knowledge, but just the thought process and the science behind what he was teaching and just throwing it together with a hockey mind was amazing. And I started doing that kind of stuff myself. Felt a huge difference on the ice, off the ice, didn't get hurt as much, that kind of stuff, injury prevention. So I was doing that, also doing some on-ice stuff. I was doing power skating skills, shooting mechanics, going around doing camps. So when I came down here, I had a deal I was on a work visa to work for this company. So I came down here thinking that I had a job, all that kind of stuff. And when I got down here, the business kind of went titties up, and I'm sitting down here and I have my work visa and all that kind of stuff, and then the business goes out of business. So I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? Down here, it's beautiful, so I just
you don't want to leave.
No,
right?
I don't want to leave. You know, it's nice to go back and visit, but like once you get down here, once you get used to it, the lifestyle, it is an amazing place, and I'm very blessed to be down here. But I just kind of continue doing my own thing. I have a good following in Saskatchewan and in Canada, so I was doing some online stuff, some online Zoom training, some programs where you can work on your game of hockey by yourself from home. You can do it, you know, you can go online, you can go on your your laptop, your phone, stuff like that, and you can follow me. So I just continued grinding that, and then
Where can people find you on Instagram?
Instagram, TikTok, just Google Squirrely Athletics. It comes up. It's one of the first things that'll come up when you Google. So
that's the hat, right?
Yeah, that's the hat. I got you one of
Yeah,
these,
that's right. That's right. You got outside of
Beautiful
hockey, you also
hats.
got your own line.
Yeah, like we could sit here for hours and ramble, but the squirrely mentality is just, still being a good person, still doing the right thing, but you like to, let loose once in a while and do some squirrely stuff. So that's the thought process behind the brand. But it's been growing. We mainly just have hats right now. That's also my business where I go around doing hockey camps on ice, off ice, stuff like that. So we're continuing to grind that online. It's been going good. It's been an adventure. Going back to down here, I think the biggest thing about down here is that it is very competitive. And coming down here, like I said, I didn't know what I was getting into, but I didn't think this, but I thought I could go to the rink and I'd be one of the most knowledgeable guys, all that kind of stuff, get a lot of business, grow my clientele, boom. But there's a lot of guys who do that, and there's a lot of good guys, a lot of good coaches around who do it. So it is very competitive. So, you have to be good at what you do. You come down to a market like this where how many teams is there? There's probably locally
South Florida. I mean, if I had to think
8.
about, there aren't that many travel programs. What I'm surprised about is that to be part of SAHOP, which is the South Florida Hockey Association, there was a tournament at Boca Ice yesterday, actually, and they had teams. I thought only encapsulated South Florida, but Tampa, Orlando, and from what I understand, it's even more developed and growing there.
Yeah,
because the Lightning have just been such a consistently good team and powerhouse.
They have Estero there, Fort Myers, the Everblades. I think they've had a program there for a lot of years. So it is competitive, and so I really had to, I think, look at myself and be like, if I'm going to come down here and this is going to be what I'm doing for a living, I really got to step it up. So over the 2 years I've been down here, I have done that. There's a lot of amazing NHL guys who come down here and live here in the off-season.
That's one thing that I was shocked at.
Crazy, like
they're everywhere, and they can walk around freely here. Whereas, like, if you walk a hockey hotbed, if you're Montreal, Toronto, you're like you can't go to a restaurant. Everybody's gonna be sticking something in front of your face for an autograph. And here, they're just like free agents.
Yeah, the college guys, it's crazy the amount of talent. Like I skate personally every Tuesday, Thursday in this skate. It's called Jeff Skate.
The one at
you were there. Your nephew came
I
and
saw
checked.
you there.
He has that every Tuesday and Thursday where it's an hour and a half, and there's current NHL guys to retired NHL guys to minor pro guys to college guys. It's crazy, man. And to have that kind of group and to skate every Tuesday and Thursday at that level, like you got guys like Pierre Turgeon just got it in the Hall of Fame. Keith Yandel was just out, and then you got the NHL guys who are currently playing. Some of the younger guys from here, like Brandon Duhaime, Andrew Peak, Galchenyuk was out. It's crazy, man. It's a high level, and just to see that, you see when kids come to the rink and watch that kind of skates, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to play hockey," and you just see it growing here in right in front of your eyes. Like I played in Knoxville, Tennessee, when Nashville, just outside of Nashville, and Nashville was on their run there when they went to the Cup, and it was wild. And just to see how that grew into something huge, what it is now, where a lot of like the Nashville travel teams are very good. They have 2 or 3 brand new state-of-the-art practice rinks. Like, it's kind of to see what's going on here. It's going the same route, and I'm sure the same route as Tampa. Tampa won 2 cups there and went to the Cup the 3rd time, and same thing. It's huge. Now you go to Tampa, you go to Wesley Chapel. They have a beautiful facility there. They have this other thing now, the Nest Academy. It looks like they got a brand new facility there. I just heard about that, actually. The game is growing, man.
It's wild.
It is wild. It's
like when you're coming down from Toronto, you could see, like, you can't compare Toronto hockey to any place in the world. Like, that is, arguably the best amateur hockey program on this planet. And then you come to a place like here where there's such a big disparity between the two because it's so well developed on the other side. But you're like, there is so much opportunity here, and it's so much on the uptick. And now the Panthers going to the finals. Like, how many kids are going to suit up that never heard of hockey because they saw that they were in the finals? They're like, Mom, Dad, I want to play hockey, right? And you see that in the rinks, and the rinks are starting to pop up. Boca Ice got 2 pads that just went up. There's another one going up on Fort Lauderdale where the Panthers are going to practice out of. Like, the issue here is ice, right? Because it's hard to get availability. Demand, and it's expensive. It's really expensive, right? How are these pros and college guys getting a hold of you? Like, how are they? I know you were skating, I think, Stevie Holiday this year, right?
Yeah. Just honestly, how I got a lot of them to start is I just skated with them and, just started chatting. And they're like, yeah, we're looking for somewhere to skate. So I just told them what I did. And then we went out and we did a couple sessions and just from there. So a lot of just in person, talking to people, meeting guys, the biggest thing which makes it feel like home here, makes it feel like Canada is the hockey world, like you were saying before. The hockey world's amazing. Guys are such close-knit. You're down here. You're in South Miami, Florida. It's crazy, but there's so many hockey guys here, but it feels like a small world, like everyone. The guys are good. It's good to go out and just get a skate, but it's really easy if you're that's why you have to be legit, because you're with the top of the top. It's not like where you're somewhere like oh, this guy could have played here but he's played here. Like, these are the cream of the crop, retired NHL guys, current NHL guys. If they want to do some work with you, you have to have your A game, because if you go out and you basically shit them a pile, they're not going to want to come back
because they know the difference.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You can't there's no putting on a show here. You have to, if you're going to be good, you're going to be busy here. And I think that's the biggest thing, because there is so many different coaches, so many different avenues to go through to get your training, whatever. You have to be legit at what you do. And once people see that you are legit as a trainer, as a person, I think it's amazing for your business. And it can, like you said, the opportunity is endless. The game is growing. Biggest thing on the game is, I think, just go to a live NHL game. The first Panthers game I came to was on New Year's a couple of years ago. First time I was here, and you always hear about the Panthers dressed like a seat night, all that kind of stuff. Well, I went there and it was against Tampa. The place was rocking. It was almost sold out. They had 18,000 fans. Even if you're not a hockey fan, you don't know anything about it, you just take your kid, take your wife, whoever, go there and watch it. It's exhilarating. It's 2 hours of just shit going on everywhere, fights, goal score. It's beautiful to watch.
You're such a hockey guy,
yeah,
man. Like,
the game sells itself, I feel. And I've always said this to people, like, what is hockey? How is it? I should go watch a game. But people, I think, down here now that it's getting big and you're getting a lot of media coverage and the Panthers are doing awesome and they're really good going out in the community and stuff like that. But if you just go watch a game, and it's kind of a trend now, obviously, you go watch it, and I think after one game you're sold. And that's why a lot of kids are getting into hockey, because they just go watch it.
It's incredible. Like, I'm in love with the sport. Like, I've been around it my whole life. I played, but I wasn't fortunate enough to play it at any higher level. Not that I would have, because my parents, they couldn't afford it. And hockey does have that barrier, because it's not like basketball or soccer where you just pick up a ball, you throw it. Soccer, you kick it around. Like, anybody can go. Hockey is something that you have to plan, right? And I know that the Panthers have a really good program. I think it's coupled with the NHL, where they provide equipment for people starting out. That's a really cool incentive. That's happening, and you go back to the hockey community, because of the abundance of riches that Florida possesses in the form of guys like yourself that have played at the highest level, that are here to train, retired NHL guys like the ones you're skating with, and they are everywhere. What I'm finding now is that they're ending up back in the rinks, and they are there to disseminate information. I can speak to my experience right now at Boca Ice with the Kings, and on the ice when my son's playing at you have Thomas Vokoun training the goalies. He's a Vezina Trophy winning goalie. Try to find that in Saskatoon or in Toronto or in Vancouver or Montreal, right? Like, you're not going to get Carey Price out with the kids, because it's just like he's too much of a celeb. Like, he couldn't do that. You get Anders, who was won a cup. You get Ryan Clough, whose son skates with my son. You know, he's still NHL in the NHL. He works for the Rangers. He's a great guy, right? But that sort of experience, Radek Dvorak. I mean, the list goes on, right? And they didn't all play pro, but there's guys that have played at the highest level, and they're there with these youngins, and they're just filtering that information down. That it will inevitably, that core will translate and grow these youngins here, right? I know in the GTHL has like AAA programs and stuff like that, but there's only one AAA program in Florida. Is that right? Called the Alliance?
As far as I know, yeah. I'm still new to it, but I know of it. But I think, it's the Florida Alliance. I think they have two different teams. I think they have a north.
I think that
north
just happened.
And a south. Yeah, this is the first year with it. So
how do you get on these teams? Do you know?
I think
get scouted.
You go try out. I guess they have their tryouts. Whenever it is, I think you go try out. And I think it's just a tournament. I'm not too
like a travel tournament team.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you can play with your team and that team, because I work. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I work with a couple kids who have alliance, but they also play with like whoever their club team is. They do. I'm not sure if you can do both or not, but it's what you're saying about having these pros around is. It's amazing, like you said, for the culture of the youth for hockey, because if you want to take hockey serious right now and you're 5 to 18 years old, you know, this is a place where there's so many beneficial aspects of it down here. Like, you have these guys, you come into the rink, you're learning from this guy, you're learning from that guy, you're learning from guys who have coached for 10 years to 25 years who have amazing experience. You can, you can go with a great power skating coach. You can go with a great skills coach. You can learn at any aspect that you want at any level. And if you're going to take that serious, South Florida hockey players are going to be coming, they're going to be growing, and you're going to see them. And there already is a lot of amazing players around here. I always thought, coming from Canada, even though you do, Canadian hockey is amazing, but how it is down here, the formula and how it's working, there should be a ton of kids within, like I said, there already is, but there should be a ton of kids coming out of South Florida.
I agree.
Even Florida.
You can see it.
Yeah.
You could see it. Like it's Austin Matthews came from Phoenix.
Yeah, like, Arizona. Yeah.
Who's like, until they had an NHL team, and he's arguably one of the best players on this planet right now. Like, I mean, you're talking about the elite of the elite, and that kid would have never probably seen hockey unless, the Phoenix was there. And Florida's got two like super teams. People don't realize the scope of Florida, but hockey is an afterthought. And it's really on the come up. I keep saying it all the time, and it's fun to watch. But when as a coach, what is it that you would say is your like bread and butter? What are players coming to you that you can add the most value on? Is it skating? Is it shooting? Is it the mental game? Is it the combination of all these things? Like, what is it that you're focusing on with a lot of these athletes?
I think it's a combination of everything. For me, myself as a coach, I continue to want to grow myself as well, and I want to, be the best I can be. So I think I've come a long way as a coach. Coaching is a lot harder than playing. Like, when you're a player,
really,
I feel that.
Wow.
Like,
in what way?
I just feel like as a player, you just worry about yourself. Like, you're allowed to be selfish as a player, and as you get better and as you go up the ranks into like the junior college pro, like, you should be selfish, because like what we were talking about before, it is a meat market, and like you go to a pro team and you have a buddy or whatever, some guy you played junior or college with, and you're worrying about that guy and what he's doing. Like, all of a sudden you're on the street, you got put on waivers, like you have to just focus on yourself, focus on what you're doing, working out on ice, what you're eating, what you're doing off ice, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Once you get into the coaching ranking, you got to worry about everything. You're worried about this kid. You're worried about that kid. You're worried about the trainer. Is the assistant coach coming? Is he sleeping? You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a lot of different aspects at the game that you all have to combine to be a good coach. The skills coach and the strength and conditioning obviously is a little bit different than like an actual team coach, but I try to do a combination of everything. I try to add a little bit of skating, some power skating into it. I think I have some good stuff there. Also, I do a lot of skill work, shooting mechanics, stick handling, different ways of being deceptive. And then I do a lot of game-like scenarios. I watch way too much hockey. If you can ask my girlfriend at home, I'm always watching hockey. So, if you're going to sit at home and watch hockey, you might as well put it to use. So the stuff I did with your nephew and Steven was a lot of game-like situations where, you're a forward. I'm gonna design a program for you for the next hour, what we're going to do on working. You tell me, what are you playing? You playing center or wing? Where are you getting a lot of your chances? Where's some of the work you need to do? So I study a lot. I study, like I said, a lot of games, but also a lot of videos. I work with some of my clients. They send me videos. I take a look at it. I just try to combine the whole package into the training, and I communicate it very well.
Do you also work on nutrition and the mental side of the game?
Definitely.
And stuff like that? Yeah.
Definitely. The mental game is the biggest part of it. I wish I'm 38, I guess. So I retired when I was 32. So
did you have a downtime when you retired where you're like, oh shit, what am I doing now?
Yeah, I kind of sat still for about 3 to 6 months where I didn't know what I wanted to do. There was always the option of like, I'd like to play again. What should I do? What avenue? Should I try to get a real job? And I tried that, and I was like, to be honest, no effing way. I want to get a real job. I put too much work into this my whole life where I'd definitely like to get back into it. But it took some time just to figure out where and what I was going to do. So it was nice just to get back into the rink and working with kids, but
the mental side. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, that's okay. The mental side, like I was listening last week to Nikita, and he said a lot of things that were, he's young, he's only 23 and he realizes that, so that's huge. He hit the nail.
He was fast tracked into it, man. He didn't have a choice.
Definitely, and back in the day, there was no mental issues, right? Like even guys who would get concussions and stuff like that. Like
have a beer, get back.
Yeah, exactly. You're fine. Like you're trying to sleep at night. Same thing. Like your head's spinning. You got a splitter the next day. Like coach is like, oh, you're going in the lineup, but like you were kind of almost forced to do that because if not, even if you were a top end guy, there's guys on his message here saying, hey, I'm ready to come, and like that they would use that against you, obviously, but. The mental side of it, if there would have been the resources that there is nowadays, there'd be a lot better. There would have been a lot more hockey players that could achieve their full potential, I think, because the mental just went, just small things nowadays. You see OCD, ADHD, superstition. Yeah, superstition was good in a sense, but like where you see guys who are late for warm-up because they got OCD and they're taping their sixth 45 times because they don't think it's the proper way and they're coming out, like just simple stuff like that. And then simple stuff of like letting go of making mistakes and, hey, I screwed up in the first period, but I'm still thinking about it in the third period. Now I screwed up 5 times and I'm a -5 already. Whereas if I would have went to someone, they could have put that to bed early within, different ways of breathing, stuff like that. So the game is grown so much in that sense as well, where nowadays you should be able to, you have the hockey world at your fingertips. Whatever you're looking for nowadays, obviously, like you said, it's an investment. It's a lot of money. But if you're really serious and you want to be a good hockey player, there's so many things out there: mental, skating, training, everything, game-like scenarios, hockey IQ stuff. It's there for you. So you want to put in the time, it's there for you.
I'll tell you something. You just said something that, like, you just described in almost in passing the evolution of how much hockey's come around and what makes a good coach. You said you could be a -5, and then you're in the first period you shit the bed, and then you're still thinking about it in the third, and likely for the next couple of days, right? But you as a coach, if you can pick up on that and tell the athletes, like, dude, 2 deep breaths through your nose, 1 out of your mouth. That happened in the past. You got 2 other periods. Just fucking play. Right? Mm-hmm. But before, like, hockey culture was like, he sit in the end of the bench and watch the rest of the game because you did that. And sometimes there's a player that needs that. I'm not a coach. I don't understand it. But I think now guys like you, and I hope you're teaching that to the youth, and I'm pretty sure you are saying, all right, well, yeah, that wasn't good. But that happened then. Now move forward.
Yeah. You have to let it go. I think we can agree on this, that the generation now is a little bit softer.
A lot softer. Right? I touch about that all the time. I'm softer than my parents were. I'm pretty sure you are too.
Definitely.
Right? Because they did better for us than we wanted to. But we hit a generation that I think is going to be uber soft because of phones.
That you're allowed, like, if you want to just be by yourself, you can go home as a kid. You can sit in your room. You can go on VR. But you actually don't have to go out in public and meet people. There's not as many situations where you're going to come out of your comfort zone.
Right.
You can, if you want to, like, you can shitbag a lot of situations nowadays where that's what COVID was, right? Like, imagine, oh, hey, you just don't go to school anymore. You go home and you go on your computer with your teacher for 2 hours, and that's going to get your grade 9 to 12 education. And that's where a lot of, there's no accountability. And nowadays, with hockey everywhere, it's more catered to the players, where I remember when I was in junior, like, I got a letter in the mail from this team and they want me to come try out, and I'll do anything to make that team. And once I'm on that team, I'm going to work hard to stay on that team. But there was never one guy who was like, I don't know if I want to play. I made the team. I don't know. I think I'm going to quit and do something else. Like, there never was that. But nowadays, just in society in general, if anything gets hard, our generation, the younger generation, is just going to shut her down, right? And go do other go home and go on your phone. And it is what it is. And that's going to be a huge problem, like you said, moving forward. But
I think as a parent, I think it's probably the thing that scares me the most.
It is. And you know your kid, but they're in a different world because you don't know what they're doing on their phone. They're on Instagram. They're on TikTok. You don't know what kind of realm they're involved in. You don't know who they're talking to, what are they watching on there. And as adults, we do that, right? We can go down the rabbit hole for hours if that's what you want to do. Like, you sit at home and you have nothing to do. You can go on your phone for 3 hours and you can snap out of it and be like, oh, where was I?
I have to catch myself. I actually had this morning, I'm getting the kids ready and I'm caught in that Instagram loop, and my daughter's like, oh, you love your phone. I'm like, oh, shit, put that away. I should be spending it with you.
Yeah. So there's less human on human interaction, but that's the power of sports. There is a lot more documented mental issues in kids and adults and everything. I think that's one weapon sports can be, is you get out, you put your phone down, you put the electronics down, you get involved with a coach, you get involved with teammates, parents get involved, you're out, it's a social outing. Hockey, number one, I think one of the best things about hockey is you go out there and you give it all, right? It's your hour practice, your 2 hour, whatever, your workout, but like, you feel so mentally clear after doing it, like,
just moving your body.
Yeah. My one safe spot in my life, if I'm ever having mental issues, is I go to my where I grew up in Ryan, Saskatchewan, a town of 250 people, but we had a rink right by my parents' house, and like, that's my...
Was it one of those rinks that you just can hop on? Like,
yeah, you can go in there, the door's open,
wow.
Volunteers like my dad and my buddies flooded it, so it's natural ice. So in the winter when it's cold, the ice is amazing, but it's freezing in there. It's just a tin can, it's like a barn. This. Yeah, it is. It's a tin can. But you go in there, I feel so mentally clear, and that's what hockey does, I feel. You can go, if you have issues, you have aggression issues, you go out there, you let it out, and once you're done, you feel good. For kids, you go home, you're fulfilled, you don't have to fuck around and drive your parents crazy. They're tapped, they're going to bed.
Not even as a kid. I had the funniest beer league story. I just got back into hockey, and I'm playing in this league in Chesswood. It's a rink out in Toronto. And it's like sea level, at the time I was like 30, and, all the guys we were playing against at one team was like a bunch of blue collar guys. I know because, we got to know them later. and all out brawl breaks out, like just nastiness for no reason. And like benches come out, and this is beer league C division hockey, right? And it got pretty ugly. Nothing too stupid, but whatever. Eventually, everyone came to their senses. Both teams were thrown out, and as we're coming out of the dressing room, we're thinking, "Oh man, this is going to get ugly in the parking lot." And these guys are waiting for us as we're coming out. But there's a bar at the end, and they're like, "Hey guys, come in here. Beer's on us," right? And we're like, "Why'd you guys do that?" And one of the guys said the most crass thing ever, but it was like fitting. He's setting in jest. He goes, "It's either I do it here on the ice or I go home and beat my wife."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dude," he goes, "No, what you don't understand." He goes, "I've got all this pent up like aggression and all this stuff. You talk about it." And he goes, "This is my place." And something set me off. I feel like an asshole, but this is hockey. You have a beer, you're done. Right, and that is something that is very few sports that you can do. You can actually you can get into wars with guys. I mean, pros will talk about it all the time, where they're like trying to knock each other's block off, and then they totally get each other because they're buddies.
Mm-hmm. They go. I forget who I was. It's weird. I was talking to someone a while ago, last week I think it was, and they were talking about this, and it was someone from down here, and they're like, "You guys are crazy. You go fight, and then you go out, and you guys are friends." And I was the story when I was playing in the minors. This guy, didn't really know him at all, but like we kind of chat a little bit on the ice, and then there'd be games where he'd shit talk me and chirp me, and I'd be like, "You know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna go you whatever." So there was one game where my family came down from Saskatchewan. It was my sister, her husband, and my buddy. And they came and they were watching us, and me and this guy I was playing him, we were going at it, and we're like, okay, whatever. It's like, I've had enough. We weren't sure if we were kind of, you have a relationship on the ice with the other team once in a while as well, but we ended up going, the whistle blew off an icing or something, he did something stupid, and I was like, okay, fuck this, let's go. So we had a scrap. Whatever, but then after the game, we went out. This was on the road, and we went out with my sister and her husband and my buddy, and we went to this bar, and this guy showed up, and it was like we were friends, but I was texting, and he was like, "Yeah, where are you?" And we're like, anyways, my sister was blown away. She's like, "You just fought this guy
Only hockey.
45 minutes ago, and now you're having a beer with him," and that's how it is, back in the day with the extreme heavyweights, guys like Ty Domi, Bob Probert, those were the best guys you would meet off the ice, right? And I think hockey players hold each other to a standard where you don't allow that stuff to lead off the ice. There is instances where it does happen and you'll see it, but like you just leave everything on the ice. And I think that's the biggest cliche is that you do leave everything on the ice. And then when you get off the ice, it is what it is. It's a business, it's a sport. It's camaraderie. It's a hard sport to play. So I think once you get off the ice, you just leave everything you did and you enjoy it. And that's where
your personal journey down here, what would you say so far has been the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge down here is, I think it's just very competitive in every aspect. It's competitive. There's so many guys. It's humbling. It's not scary. It's challenging. You come down here and think that you're good at what you do as a coach, as a skills coach, and then you look at this guy. He's good. You have Nashville Predators, Anaheim Ducks coming to skate with this guy, and you're like, wow, like, how do I get to be that level? But it's a learning curve, and it's like I said before, it forces you to be the best you can be, and that's the biggest thing I like about here, is that I'm growing as a coach, I'm growing as a human, but I'm getting stronger. I'm learning things, how to get better. I'm working with these pro and college guys, and I feel like they're getting a lot out of what I'm doing with them, but they're also saying, there's a couple of things that you could do to make it even better than what it is, and I appreciate that feedback as well, and that's how you grow. So I think the biggest thing was just getting into the market, getting ice, getting a spot to train out of off the ice. I think one of the biggest things is here in South Florida that there is amazing youth hockey players, but there isn't as much focus on the off-ice stuff. They're a little bit softer on that end. I think if they would put a little bit more work into working out off the ice, I think there could be some amazing hockey players here. The thing about down here is like you have your sport, you have hockey, you have football, you have basketball, whatever. In Canada, it's kind of like seasons, even though like hockey's a 12-month sport, right? But like where I came from in Saskatchewan, you play from the rink, the ice would go in September, you play September to April, and then the ice comes out, and then you play baseball or whatever you're going to play. Here, it's hockey all the time, which is awesome. But I think you need that additional focus off ice because you're going to play hockey all year round. You're going to play spring hockey. You're going to do what you do. But once you get into your actual season, you're going to come into the time around December and you haven't been working out off the ice and your body's just going to be a noodle and you're not going to be able to get over that hump. But, if you hit up the gym a little bit more, and even hockey in general, it's not a natural movement, right? Your hips, your lower back, your neck, your upper body, all that kind of stuff. Like you really, at a young age, need to focus on prolonging. You'll talk to a lot of guys. It's not a race hockey. Your kid could be the best. He could be at 9 years old, but it's when he's 18 to 21 to 22 is when you want that to be. So it's not a race. So I think if people down here, hockey players in general, would focus a little more off the ice stuff and combine that with on the ice, because you see kids on the ice 5 days a week, and even as adults, if we wanted to, I could skate twice a day. You know what I mean? Like there's ice, there's groups, there's all different kinds of stuff. So I think it's all here. And
dude, you were like my counsel when I came down. You spent a lot of time talking on the phone and appreciate all your efforts. How can people get a hold of you when they're, especially in the off season, when they're coming down here and they want to skate? Like how can people find you?
I think my biggest thing has been my social media, bpeps1027 on Instagram and on TikTok. Mostly on there. You just search up Squirrely Athletics, 1L, spelt a little different. Just search up that and hit us up. We have a website, so if you just hit us up, tell us what you're looking for, and definitely we'll be looking to get into touch with you. And
if they DM you, you will respond.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Just around the rinks, grinding it out, and just continuously building and getting better. And here to develop anyone at any age.
I know from a lot of people, like it used to be like you just show up to Florida and then you meet a coach or whatever. But now I'm suggesting to people a message in advance, so you can book ice in advance. You can prepare whatever they're playing before they get here, because you need to book those times. But there is nothing cooler than being able to skate for a couple hours, sweat, take your gear out, put it outside for half an hour, and it's like when you started, man. So I appreciate your time, dude.
Thank you.
This is a long and overdue.
This. Yes,
and we will totally do this again. I want to catch up on a bunch of people in a couple of years to be like, dude, we spoke about this. Now where are you at now, and what's going on with hockey?
Definitely. I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.